Hello, in this video I am going to talk about the new potato harvester module. First, I wish to thank Ryota and Clausman for the algorithm and inspiration behind this module and giving me permission to incorporate it into Jackrabbit. I've picked the coin that I'm going to demonstrate this on. The market looks somewhat volatile at first, but when you see the pricing, it's not very much movement. So I think this coin would actually be a good place to begin the introduction. Now, right now, this module is in the alpha area and may not necessarily remain there for very long, as it looks like it's progressing pretty good. Now, you will need to update any charts that you may have on it, as I have done updates on the module itself. Here is the current default. Now we're going to go through and actually talk about this. So let's zoom this in. Okay. This is your center line or median. Your first ATR level. Your second ATR level. Your third ATR level. And your fourth ATR level. Now this module does not have a confirmation. Otherwise you would not have these graphics and it would impair the functionality of the module itself. There are several ways of using this module. I'm going to cover one, then I'm going to demonstrate a second one. Since this module is based upon ATR, you automatically have a built-in risk to reward ratio. For example, if you purchase on level 1, this is a risk level of 1, and you sell on level 2, you have a reward ratio of 2 to 1. Now you can use level 2 here as an emergency exit. So there are several different approaches. And this is really just a tip. Now if you do want to use this as a sell point, you will need to load a second module and stack them. Or you can repurpose one of these lines, which is what I'm going to demonstrate. So here we have a simple process. Now let's bring up the menu. Okay, it's standard Jackrabbit format. These are the current default settings. First, let's play with the center line and see what we can do to smooth this out a little bit. Actually, let's stop here. Now let's zoom this back out so we can get more information. Okay. Now let's begin the tuning process. Right off the bat, I want to do historic data. Now, the length of the center line. I personally prefer 237. That smooths it out quite a bit and gives me a good representation of the highs and lows. Now let's find a moving average that works. For this part, we only want to watch the middle center line. That's the important line that we're focusing on now. None of the ATR lines. Okay, weighted moving average looks good. The center line crosses quite frequently through the middle of the various candles. So now that we've got that, let's see what we can do with the ATR lines themselves. I want to smooth them out a little bit to give myself a good representation of what the market would look like. Weighted moving average looks good, but it's still a little too choppy on the ATR lines themselves. So let's see if we can get this to smooth out before we go working on the length, in which we may have to go back and forth. Okay, that's an interesting flip. That's definitely a mess. Now that actually looks interesting. It's starting to get messy again. That's good. I like that. It's starting to smooth out. Now, let's begin working on this. Let's go to 31. Let's try 37. Let's try 89. Nice. Now we're smoothing everything out really nicely. Okay. Now, I only want to purchase and sell on the outside channels. So, no on 3, no on 2, no on 1 for my purchases. And I only want to sell on channel number 4. Now, you can use this for multiple levels at different frequencies, which does have some distinct advantages depending upon what you are trying to achieve. So now we have a very simple combination. Now let's see what it looks like as a whole. Okay, it purchases here, and it sells up here, and it comes out with a nice little profit. But let's see what kind of profit. Oops, wrong one. We want indicator first. For that, we are going to need the DCA module. And let's move it onto the primary chart. Bring it to the front so that it overlays on top of potato harvester. Pin it to scale A so that it lines up properly. And now let's take out all of the noise. Now we're going to connect it to Potato Harvester. We're going to move it to historic data. I'm going to move this to aggressive and price. And I'm going to set my deviation to 0. I want pure profits on a more organic level. Now let's turn off the noise here and make the colors a little more readable. Okay. There we go. Now let's see what we have for results. And then we're going to do some more tuning. Not bad. 3.8%. 8% last profit. That is quite nice. 30 maximum positions with an average of 11. That's a little steep, and we might be able to do something about that. So, since I'm using only the 4th boundary, now you do need to be careful not to over-tune. But now here I'm just using the up and down arrows. And it's an issue of balancing the trade cycles versus the consistency of profits. For example, 4 trade cycles on the 1-minute chart or 19 days, that's not bad. 10 maximum positions per cycle, that's reasonable within a very limited budget. But you can get better and go better. It just depends on how far you want to push the envelope. Okay, I'm going to go back down to here. I like the consistency this represents, and I like the level this represents. So there you have it. A very simple and yet very profitable combination. And this does very uniquely well. Now, as I said, I'm only just touching the very basics of what this module can really do. And it can really go quite substantial and quite unique in its approaches. Let me know if you have any questions. Please like the video so it will help get the channel more exposure. And if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. If you are subscribed, thank you. Until next time.